Welcome to the world according to Rich. I wasn't expecting to do another of these episodes quite so quickly, but I've been so sort of intrigued by the feedback I've gotten, the comments, that I wanted to jump right back into it. It's been on my mind, and I wanted to start by reading some of the comments that I got about social media. In the first episode of this series, I talked about what is social media. What does it really mean, and how do you use it? Kennergy responded, it's just another tool we have on our communications toolbox. And at this point in time, there are still more questions than answers about the right way to use any of it. Just jump in and get dirty. Which is great advice, and I totally agree. And unfortunately, sometimes that leads to situations like one that Kurt related. He said, I asked someone a while back why they use the auto feature to send the same update out over several sites at once, and they replied, to get the message out. What message, I asked. They didn't have a clear answer and blew me off like I was an idiot for asking. So people jump in and they use this, and they make sometimes really obnoxious mistakes, and I think we've all seen that. But hopefully they learn from their mistakes, or in this case maybe they don't learn from their mistakes. A good friend of mine, AU142, a good long-time friend of mine, he's a teacher, a grade school teacher, and he said the kids don't understand ideas that are just thrown at them. They need to work hands-on with the ideas, and they become meaningful. I hate boring memorizing tests. My tests are projects that I give the kids to do, hands-on stuff, and they love it. Which is to say, you can read all you want about social media, but unless you start doing social media activities, unless you're on Facebook, unless you get involved with YouTube, unless you play with Twitter, I don't think you can really quite get what it's all about. And I'm still figuring it out, and I think some of you that have been on for a long time are still trying to figure it out as well, because it keeps changing. Finally, Noah's Ark. I keep wanting to say Noah's Shark, but it's Noah's Ark, and he's a 16-year-old who is one of my subscribers, and he said, I'm curious, what would you say would be the goal of a kid using social media to talk to friends and connect with people? Would that count as a goal? And absolutely. I think, again, communications toolbox. You use it for whatever you feel you want to use it for. The same way the telephone can be used for business and for calling your family. It's all legit. Which brings me to another subject, and that Noah's Ark and I were discussing for a bit. He mentioned that when he was younger, when he was a little kid, he said, after watching Dateline NBC to catch a predator, my teachers and parents almost made it their first priority to make sure we kids didn't go on meeting people we had met through the internet. With the whole face-to-face thing with YouTube, I feel that it's almost a perfectly safe and reasonable thing to do, like gatherings. Any thoughts on that? Well, it's interesting. I mean, there was so much, and a little bit of disclosure here. About a dozen years ago, I did an educational film about the dangers of online chatting. Now, I love online chatting. I probably did it earlier than most people. And the film was just sort of having some fun with it in a serious way. It's about a kid, basically, who was chatting on the internet and had a girlfriend he was chatting with. It was all text chat in those days. And discovered that his girlfriend was actually a bunch of people sitting in a cyber cafe sort of playing with him. But today, you have the illusion of intimacy. You have the illusion that you know the people that you're talking to, or that are talking to you through YouTube. But people can deceive sometimes even more effectively face-to-face. Used car salesmen, for example. So my question to you today is, for the veterans of YouTube, have you found in meeting people in person at gatherings and so forth, the contrast between a persona online and a persona in person? Are people honest about who they are? Or do you feel that if you see somebody after a period of time online that they generally reflect who they really are? Now, I'd like to suggest a collab. I want to take this idea that people aren't necessarily who they seem to be in this little box, that sometimes they're wildly different beyond that box. I don't want to do something melodramatic. I don't want to do something necessarily serious, but I want to play with the idea that sometimes people are putting on an act. And, you know, like I said, do something fun and so do something that would fit into the concept of doing a collab. So I'd like to brainstorm with all of you out there and hear what you have to say. And if you're interested in actually participating in the collab, message me either in the comments or privately, and let's go from there.